Hello and welcome back. I said that I was going to do today's video on some things that I wish I had done or known when I first started taking Manjaro, but I thought that I would start with some little non-scale victories. One of them is technically a scale victory because it's from my Renpho smart scales, but I am just looking down at my iPad so I make sure that I've got the stats right. I have finally gotten to a body fat percentage of below 32%. So on the Renpho scales, it said that my range was obese and then anything above 32%, and then now it's in the average. I had a look online to see, because I feel like there should be something in between those two grades, scales. I had a look online and some websites said, it might be like the fat percentage might be excellent, poor, average, things like that. I did find one that said it went for women, not for men, but for women from average to obese. So I'm not really sure what to believe. It sounds as though that might be right, but I feel like there should definitely be an in-between, because surely there could be an overweight in there rather than just straight from average to obese. But anyway, so that was my last red item on the Renpho scales, and I'll take a screenshot so that you can see what I mean. For some reason I can't do screen recording on my iPad and I'm filming on my phone, but that was my last red little indicator. So it gives traffic light indicators of if something's good or average, or if it could be worked on. So the only things that I have left in yellow now, or orange, are my weight, BMI, subcutaneous fat, and my metabolic age. So I just don't want to keep working on those. My BMI, I need to get below a 25. It's currently 27.1. My weight as of Monday is 73.85, and it's suggesting 68.06 for me to get to average, which is a little bit above what I was aiming for anyway. I'm now at 73.85 kilos and I was aiming for 65, but I think I'll go a little bit lower because I know that when I get to maintenance I'm going to start to put on weight, or at least I'm expecting that. If my body has been any indicator throughout the decades, that is what's going to happen. So subcutaneous fat is at 27.9%. It says I need to get to 26.7% for that to be in the average, and my metabolic age is 36, which is saying is high, and I need to get to my actual age, which is 33. Let's see where I started on the metabolic age. If I go through trends and go to all, and I'll do a little screen recording or some screenshots so that I can chuck that in, but my starting metabolic age was 40. So now 36, I'm pretty happy with that. And my visceral fat, I think, is in the green now at 10, which is wonderful, and it's at average. So I was slightly high up until about a week or so ago, and now I'm in the average, which I'm really happy about. So another, well, that's a scale victory technically, but another non-scale victory is that I'm wearing this dress. Not that I'm going to stand up so you can see it, but it's a dress that I haven't probably worn since about 2018, and last time I wore it, I feel like it was actually tight in the skirt part of the dress, and now it's loose, and it's loose, quite loose up the top. So maybe I should have gotten it out a month ago, but it is what it is. And I'm also, scale victory, I've finally gotten to 15 kilos weight loss. So I started at 89.3 and I'm now at 73.85. Like I said, I want to keep going down, but it says I've gotten to 63% of my progress if my goal stays at 65 kilograms. So that's what I want to say about that. Feeling very happy about that, and just got to keep going. But I feel like having gotten to the 12.5 milligram dose, that's working really well for me, much better than the other doses had. And so like I said, I'm going to try and stay on the 12.5 for as long as possible, because the only way up from there, once you go into the 15, is there is no way up until we get retatrutide. I always struggle to say that. And I believe that the makers of Ozempic and Wegovy are coming out with something called CagriSema, but I don't believe that the studies have been that great, and it's not going to be a Mounjaro 2.0. It's going to be a step down from the current Mounjaro, basically. That's my understanding. Yeah, so some of the things that I wanted to talk about was things that I regret not doing when I started, or I wish I had known when I started. Something I mentioned at the end of my last video was measurements. And I do still think that's really important, but I did measure myself the other day and based that on measurements that I had when I was, I guess, starting to lose weight some months before coming onto Mounjaro. So maybe I was on Contrave at the time, I'm not entirely sure. But I'm only at, around my waist, I would think I was at 9 centimeters less, and around my hips was 10. So it's not actually a crazy amount. For some reason, I thought that I didn't bother with the bust because I just was feeling lazy, which is probably why I never took the measurements at the beginning in the first place. But I didn't have like a massive regret after taking them, thinking, oh, I wish I had taken them from day one, because I do still have some measurements from the months prior, and it actually wasn't a crazy amount that seemed to have been lost. So, but I've got the measurements now, which is great. As I said, I took photos at the beginning. I know there are a lot of people that really wish they'd taken more photos, and when I look back at those photos, I don't like looking at them. They're not fun. And some of the photos that I took, I think I took them every 4 weeks until week 12, and I'm now in week, 24, 25, something like that. I started on the 4th of February. But so I'm coming up to my 6-month mark. When I was taking those photos up until the 12-week mark, I really didn't feel like they made a lot of difference visually. And maybe that's just because I was feeling really harsh towards myself and very self-critical, which probably always will be. But I think now, coming up to the 6-month mark, I'm going to take photos in the same outfit. And I did take them from all different angles. I took them, well, not from the back because I was doing it with a mirror, but I did front, both sides. I kind of did with my arms up as well, so that I could see the weight on my arms. I did my face and my collarbone upwards, because I don't have any collarbones at the moment, which is one of the things I'm looking forward to getting. That will be another non-scale victory, and I think it's probably after that time that I'll look at going into maintenance. But anyway, when I get to the 6-month mark, I'm going to wear the same clothes, take the same photos with the same angles and everything, and pop them side by side, and I'll put them in a video. I might even wear that outfit for this video. I think I'll do it not the 6-month mark in terms of calendar months, but in terms of weeks. I think that gives people a better idea, because obviously February is slightly shorter than the rest of the months, and that's when I started. So I think I'll do it at the 6-month mark, but in terms of weeks. And I'm not going to try and do that calculation in my head because I'm terrible at maths. So the second regret that I had, sorry, I'll just go back to the photos quickly. I know that people don't like to take photos when they're feeling miserable, where they are feeling like they're at their biggest and they're feeling desperate. Sorry, that's one of my dogs decided to bark. Oh, you can see her in the mirror, which is cutie. Anyway, pipe down. Oh, sorry. Oh, she's gone now, it's okay. It's a little howler, and the other one doesn't really bark at all. So anyway, I know it's really hard when you're feeling at your lowest, you're feeling desperate to lose the weight, you feel like it is insurmountable and overwhelming and like it's never going to happen for you. And trust me, I felt like that for years. I still know that at the end of the day, the people that I have seen were either content creators on YouTube or people that I have known, they've really regretted not taking more photos. And so if you haven't taken any photos yet, this is your sign to go and take the photos. It doesn't matter if it's like me with the measuring tape, that it's, you know, you're a month into your journey or 3 months into your journey. Just make sure that you've got something that you can go back and compare with, because it is really important. And I think it's important when you're feeling, like you want to give up. And I think I mentioned before, there have been some times when I have felt like throwing in the towel in the last month or so, particularly when it comes to injections, and we'll come to that. But it's a good reference for you to look back and see how far you've come and to keep motivating you forward. Even when it doesn't feel like the scale is moving that much, that's why we look for non-scale victories. So although it may feel like it's not going anywhere, remember that there might be water weight fluctuations. You might be exercising more, and know a pound of or a kilogram of muscle does not weigh more than a kilogram of fat, but it certainly takes up less space, right? So take those photos. It doesn't have to be lots. It could just be one or two. But I do know that a lot of regrets that a lot of people have, or a regret that a lot of people have, is not taking a lot of photos. And I've known people that have taken videos as well, and I kind of think, I wish I'd done that as well, so that I could see how I move, how I feel, things like that. So on to the second biggest regret I have, and I think it's not something that I could have known beforehand, but it was having been on Ozempic, because I really do think that has affected my ability to really feel the results of Mounjaro early on. I did have to go up to the 12.5. Like I said, I would have 4 or 5 weeks, I think 6 at a maximum, where I could feel the effects of the Mounjaro, and then it just started to subside. And so it's not until I got into the 12.5 that it has felt really consistent. And I do wonder, I know that it was potentially because I was pre-diabetic in the past. Still need to go and get my fasting insulin levels tested, but I know that I've come out of that place before I started Mounjaro, but I think it probably still affects it. And I really do think that the fact that I was on a GLP-1 prior that didn't do anything, I think that has potentially affected how I've responded to the Mounjaro as well. So that's my second biggest regret. But again, it's not something that I could have known in advance, unless I had known about Mounjaro and the effect of GLP-1s prior, which, I don't want to actually look up how long Mounjaro has been in Australia, because I will feel more regret about having not known about it sooner. But I'm here now, that's all that counts. I would say my third, not biggest regret, but things that I wish that I had taken real, what's the word I'm looking for, that I really wish I had tracked, is the amount of weeks that I was on each injection. Because I would like to know, it didn't really matter for the ones before that, but I would like to know how long I've been on the 12.5 now, how long I can expect for that efficacy to last. I'm sure that there are studies out there that talk about people titrating up the doses and how long the higher doses are efficacious for. But I suppose it depends person to person, but I do still really wish that I had taken note of that and really been tracking that, so that at least I had it for my own records, if not to share with other people. What am I up to now? 4, I think. My fourth thing that I wish I had known a little bit more about was collagen. And I've always been taking collagen supplements since starting Mounjaro, and I have been using like a firming body butter by Palmer's, which I think is an American brand. Quite cheap at Chemist Warehouse when it's on sale. It's like $9 or something for, 750 mils. Lasts a while. So after I shower, I use that, and I think that has helped a little bit with body tightening, skin tightening. But it's not as though I've used it on one side of my body and not on the other, so that I can compare. But I thought every bit helps, and same with the collagen supplements. But I learned recently, thanks to Countess of Shopping, looking at some studies that were done about collagen and the amount of collagen that's needed to sustain skin elasticity, but also help with things like the cartilage in between bones and things like that. And as I said, I've got arthritis. I now know that I actually need a lot more collagen than I have been getting. So I'll link to that video where the Countess of Shopping talks about that study. I believe that there are also some implications for weight loss and the sustaining of weight loss. I'm gonna have a bit more of I've already watched the video, but I'm gonna watch it again for that information, and I'll put a little description in the description box with the link. But essentially the studies were showing that someone should be getting more than 15 grams of collagen per day. And so the supplements that I were taking were like 2.5 grams of collagen per day. I don't think that it's made a massive difference for my skin elasticity and things like that. I'm still young. I've been losing weight quite gradually. I don't have any loose skin. I'm very lucky in that regard. I know that that's something that some people struggle with. And I know in my first video that I was talking about loose skin, and sometimes the idea of that can be a deterrent for people. So I don't think it should be a deterrent, but knowing what I know now, I would be upping the collagen if I were so inclined, so concerned about skin elasticity and loose skin. 15 milligrams a day. When you're looking at things like gummies and stuff like that, which is what I was looking for because I'm getting a bit of supplement fatigue because I take so many for my arthritis and XYZ. I just really wanted some gummies, and yeah, they're like at the 2.5 milligram mark, and that was the most I could find. The rest are lower than that, if not half. So I'm not sure about the actual tablets. I'm not sure if you can get 15 milligram dosages, but something that I have found is handy is having it in like a drink form. I've also just ordered and picked up today from the Amazon locker, because of the Prime Day deals, some collagen bars, and they've got, I think, 11 grams of collagen per bar. I'll report back if I actually like those. I ordered 2 different flavors and only one arrived, so I don't know what happened with the other one. But something else, I know that I spoke about Collagen Co in my first video, I think, maybe the last one, about their like collagen protein shakes. I think they call them their weight loss shakes or something like that. That was a bit hit and miss with graininess, and they're just I find them too thick. But I did order something again in the Amazon Prime Day deals, which is one of their collagen like powders that goes into like water to essentially flavor the water. I didn't love the taste. I got strawberry and watermelon, but I didn't hate it either. Like, it's drinkable. So on days where I am not having another protein shake to get my protein up because I've not hit my goal, I will be having those collagen shakes. So after this, actually, I'm going to have some. And I found that when I was talking about the collagen protein shakes and mentioning, what's it called? Creatine. Mentioning creatine powder and putting that in a shake and shaking that up. The creatine was still really gritty, but I found when I mixed it in with this collagen powder that you just put in water, and it's essentially like a, I don't know, 0 calorie, 0 sugar soft drink, except it's got calories and it's not fuzzy, not fizzy. That seemed to mix in with the creatine a lot better. It wasn't as gritty. So maybe it was the fact that I was putting it in something that's of a dairy form. I was putting it in, I think I mentioned those Masashi shakes and some other, like if I get like a Dairy Farmers, they have their own protein milkshake things now, protein smoothie, sometimes they're called. If I'm putting in that, I'm finding that that's really gritty, putting in the creatine powder. But with this collagen powder, it was not. So I'm going to test that, the same thing with water. Because I found I had been trying to put it in things like Pepsi and Diet Pepsi, stuff like that. Pepsi Max, not Diet Pepsi. And that was still gritty. So I don't know what it is about this particular thing. I'll try mixing with water, even though that will taste disgusting, to see what the difference is in terms of consistency. But at least with this, that I can mix the creatine in with, which I'm yet to take today. So yeah, anyway, all that in a roundabout way to say collagen is really important. Again, I don't think that it would have made much difference for me for my skin, elasticity and things like that, but potentially for my joints. My arthritis has gotten worse and worse and worse in the last few months. It might just be because it's winter, because you really feel it more with the cold, but I'm noticing a lot more issues with my joints in my thumb, like really badly. So I don't know if the collagen would have made a difference for that, but I wish I'd known about it years ago, not just when starting Mounjaro, but years and years ago, so that I could have at least held off the severity of the arthritis, because it runs in my family. It's only going to get worse as I get older. It would have been really nice to have hit that off at the pass when I think I was diagnosed. I was told about that I had arthritis when I was 27 or 26, 27. So if I had known about collagen then and the amount of grammage of supplements that I should have been getting, maybe that would have made a difference. So that's all I can think of for the moment. If you have any questions, please do let me know. My next video might be my 6-month mark one, unless I can think of something else to talk about between now and then. Oh, I was going to talk about insulin needles, or the injections themselves. Like I mentioned in my first video, I am doing the golden or the 5th dose. I've become really needle averse in the last few weeks. I don't know why. And it kind of got to the point where the last couple of injections, I was thinking maybe I might start to head towards maintenance now, because I just can't stand the needles at the moment. I don't know where that's come from. With my medical issues, I get lots of blood tests all the time, I get lots of injections all the time. I don't know what this is. I don't know where it's come from. I had a bad experience with the insulin needle a few weeks ago where I was trying to do the golden dose. I had 2 left in my pen because I get 15 milligram pens, but I'm at 12.5 milligrams. So I do still really have 2 full doses left at the end of the pen. So I did the first full dose, and that was not a great experience. And I've got one sitting in my pen still in the fridge, and I know that I need to use it, but I just really didn't want to. And I'm going to try. I'm due for another injection tomorrow. So I've got numbing cream. I went to use that last week and then read the instructions and realized it needs a minimum an hour, if not longer, to sit on the skin before it's effective. Great. So I set a timer for tomorrow evening to put it on, and it says to put a cling wrap over the top and tape it and whatever, and leave it for a minimum of an hour. So I'm going to try and leave it for 2 hours and then see how that goes. And if that goes badly again, it's affecting like the normal screwer needles now for the pen. It's affecting how I'm feeling about those. The last time I injected, and because the 12.5 milligram dose is so voluminous, if that makes sense, when I was injecting it last week, and it might just be because I'm getting funny in my head about it, but when I was injecting last week, I felt like I could feel the coldness of the liquid. I could feel it being injected. It was disgusting. So if the insulin needle doesn't go well again this time, I think like that'll be the last golden dose that I have with this particular pen. And then I think I might just leave it. I might just not bother with the next pen, or I might build up a bit of a stock so that I can revisit that in a few months when I'm feeling a little bit less like icky about it. And I don't know why I'm feeling icky about it. It's weird. So anyway, all that to say, I had an emotion, I guess, a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now, where I was feeling like I was kind of ready to throw in the towel, which is one of the reasons why I started this recording of these rambly videos now rather than at maintenance, because I was kind of feeling like, again, I wasn't going to get to maintenance. And now in the last few weeks, having had these weird feelings about needles, I don't know why, I really don't. Literally the last time I injected, I was thinking I might start to move down now so I can be done with this. So I'm going to keep going. I'm glad that I've started this now, that I'm feeling these types of ways in the last month or so, because I imagine it's only going to get harder. And I imagine as I get closer toward my goal weight that the weight loss is going to slow down, and it is going to feel overwhelming and unattainable. But I know that it is attainable. This is me telling my future self that it is attainable, and I just need to keep going, because as I've mentioned before, I've never gotten to the maintenance stage of any kind of diet or weight loss strategy before, and I've been doing it literally 2 decades, more than 2 decades now, which is scary. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to remember my non-scale victories. When I get to my 6-month mark in however many weeks time that is, because I need to calculate it, I will do the side-by-side video, and then I will be practicing what I preach and looking at the results and knowing that it's making a massive difference to my life in so many ways, not just in the way that I look, but in the way that I move, in the way that I feel, in the way that I'm interacting with the world. Even just walking the dogs now feels so much more comfortable. I remember coming back from, it was either Japan or France at the end of last year, and I remember going to the dog park that we normally go to with the girls. We only had one girl at this time, but I remember being in like a particular, it was just like a tank top, and I'm pretty sure I had a jacket over the top, but I just felt so uncomfortable in it, like I was being squished into it, and it was really tight, and I could feel it on my body. I felt so uncomfortable. And yes, it probably had been time after being overseas and eating a lot of food, because we just come back from whatever trip it was. Not that we go on trips a lot, but anyway, towards the end of last year we did. And I was just feeling like then, like something needs to happen, something needs to change. And I feel so comfortable now going to that park, because it is a little bit, like it's a leash-free area, but it's kind of up a big hill. And that was uncomfortable to walk up before. And now it's not. Now I can run around with the girls with ease. And yeah, life is just generally better, not just because of how I look, but I need to remember that. So I'm going to sign off now. If you have any questions, probably no one's going to watch this, but if you do have questions, please let me know. I now have to record for another minute because I'm a little bit superstitious, and this particular part, since I had to start re-recording, has now gone to the 13-minute mark. I don't like that. So I'm going to keep on going. I'll probably cut this bit out because you don't need it, but I don't want the 13-minute mark to be there. Isn't she cute? This is our oldest one. And the little one's on the floor. Yes. Okay, it's gone to the 14-minute mark now. Say bye-bye.